and Dr. Kuro Court, party leader, Third Way Alliance. Honorable Manza, let me bring you into this conversation. The abductors playground is what we're talking about. The DCI boss, Mohamed Amin, is expected in court today to answer to the prosecution and witness, but not as a witness, just to answer whereabouts of Diangui Kinyagia. Yes. But the DCI argue that they don't know where he is in as much as he's their person of interest. Are you buying that argument, or is it just an indication of an inept security system?
Trevor, I've been there before, representing people previously abducted and people previously gone missing. And coincidentally, the day the boss of DCI or IG appear in court, that's the same day these people are found at night, early in the morning, like when we were with them long before, after a very big effort to get the DCI boss to court. In fact, he had to be gotten from a meeting in Rwanda together with his boss. It is when they stepped in court that information came that the bodies of these missing young people are the city mortuary. And coincidentally, even today, before he appears there, some of these people will be released at night or they'll be found dead somewhere. And I think the blame totally goes on him. If there's anyone who should resign from his position, it is the DCI boss. And I'll give reasons. All the people who have been abducted and the stories they give, including Chesone recently, there is somebody directing the abductees. The abductees have the Subarus, at times without proper number plates or without number plates at all. They are hooded people. From their tongues, you can figure out where they come from. And they always follow the direction. Sometimes it is a lady directing them, who we suspect worked for DCI. So sometimes they are in installations. They suspect are military, and at times they also suspect, because their eyes are tied up, they suspect they are in NSIS institutions, and they have their stories to give. And that's why we formed a commission for these people to talk, and we document this information and present it to DPP to prosecute or file a mass constitutional suit against this DCI boss and against the Attorney General and against the Ministry of Interior and anybody associated with security. So it has been a very serious security breach. And when you listen to the minister, he says, I'm directing policy when they come to court. You see, security responsibility squarely lies on the state. It begins with the president, goes to the minister, goes to the police boss, DCI boss, and other, affiliated security organs. And therefore, he cannot take away the blame. And I'm very sure when a proper investigation is done, because we are in an era of information and technology, really, no one should have, up to today, died in the hands of police, and then they want to get away with it. How do you pretend that you are the boss of DCI, that you have no information? He always comes and says, I'm investigating. Investigating what? You know what it is. You are the abductors. It is as simple as that. If you don't know where these people are, then you should have found out. How can, this is modern age, somebody go missing, they have a telephone which you can track and you know where they are. And then the first thing they do is to take the telephones away from them. So it means somebody else with similar technology can be able to locate these phones with the police. And therefore,
so at the bare minimum, they should be able to say this is the last place we track this person, and this is the signal where.
And the signals are with police.
Yeah.
They are with the DCI officers. It is time the pretense stopped, and it is time now Kenyans even took keen interest in security of everybody and all the technology available, used to make sure we now know who to blame. They should take responsibility. In fact, from the killing so far, these people should resign and get prosecuted. And even when you listen to the minister in charge of Interior, you find a lot of carelessness in his talk. We miss the days of the late Gaiseri. May the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. Gaiseri was a true security man. And he was the first one to be sourced from the opposition to go and work for the government. He understood how security operations work. He's been a military man. He understood how police systems work. He was not careless with his words. He never directed, the security teams to commit crime. And he was there for them. And every time he's needed in Parliament, he came and gave an accurate report.
Okay.
Nowadays, when we called Murkomen after the death of Ojwang, he came and pretended he doesn't hear, he doesn't see, and he's not aware. And every other time, any of these security ministers are asked questions, they keep on saying, there's a file, there's an investigation. The security minister and the president should be able to know the status of that investigation. And when police in this country want to investigate everything, they know. It is only that they sit on it, they conceal it, and it is itself a criminal offense.
So they're simply lying to Kenyans. They
are simply lying to Kenyans, and this matter has become so serious. I believe it is political. I believe they are directed, and I believe the utmost responsibility lies with the president. In fact, out of the killings and the deaths, the president should be the first one to resign and allow himself to be prosecuted, followed by Murkomen, followed by the DCI boss, followed by the IG. They know, and even the NSIS people, that is their work. All the government security systems know. And even this, the latest, Maandamano, the way it was handled, this was not just a normal demonstration. How do you go to a police station and you have an hour there burning, cars which are for evidence, which have been arrested for one thing or another, and there's not even, even a backup. It is choreographed. How can you say police stations are being burned down and the guns have been found in Naivasha? We have arrested 485 people. Where are they? Which courts have they appeared?
Okay.
In the country.
But Trevor, these two people.
I was asked a question.
You answered it.
Yes, you asked a question.
I'm still adding another one.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm adding another one.
Yeah.
Why are these two legislators not tabled a motion of impeachment of this government? And it relates to what I asked Eddie.
Okay.
Why is his party and he himself associating closely with the government that Mahanzo has acted?
He has asked me that a number of times.
Now
let Eddie.
Let me just conclude.
Okay.
Parliament has let down Kenyans. Parliament has the power to investigate these issues and present reports which the DPP should be able to peruse and prosecute. But the whole government system has failed. From Parliament, from the courts have been presented with weak evidence by DCI, which evidence they know is going nowhere. That evidence is not even permissible by ODPP. The ODPP is compromised. There is a big problem in the country which must be sorted by the people because we are the ones who voted. But finally, the only way to sort this out under the Constitution, there is no one who has the power to overturn the Constitution of Kenya. It can only best be done during the election. Kenyans have learned their lessons. These young people making noise, they should register as Kenyans. Most of them have no ID. It is free now. They must make an effort. They either make an effort to demonstrate, make an effort to go and register as a Kenyan. We want an IBC in place as soon as possible. We want to register voters. We want to clean the voters register. And this government should be home 2027.
All right. There are questions that you asked.
There's no
you can pick any of them to respond.
There's a side conversation. I think the moderator is
you can answer
but the first thing to Ekuru, Ekuru is the author of the Constitution. He was in something called the Committee of Experts.
Not something. The Committee of Experts was never something.
Sorry for the word something.
Yes.
But I was using it as an informative language for those who might not have the history. But there was a Committee of Experts to be able to do the drawing ideas from Kenyans and putting this constitution together. And he knows very well that when there's a problem in government, the ministers, he knows that the ministers are vetted, appointed, and impeached, if any, by the National Assembly. So he doesn't need to ask us that kind of question. It's being unfair to say Senator Manzo and myself. In fact, we think that they did under service in terms of just giving the Senate more powers in terms of legislative processes. You know, if you look at Article 250 Ekuru, all the way to 252, all independent offices, including IBC, that does our election, including the IG of police, because National Police Service is an independent institution under Article 250. The selection and election of all those institutions are given to the National Assembly. The issue is talking about impeaching president or deputy president. He knows. He's a lawyer. He's the author of the Constitution. I can't change the Ekuru Court Constitution without going through a process of that is a referendum. He knows that he said, it's not me, that president must start in the National Assembly and then end in the Senate. In fact, the Senate is only given a small role, okay, under Article 150 and 151. He knows all these things. So he should not ask us a question to make us look bad as legislators. In fact, there's a time I met one of the serious activists in this Gen Z movement.
Say Senate.
No, you said the two of us. You said the two of us. So let me tell you something. Not all senators and not all MPs are not working for Kenyans. And this is why I fundamentally disagree with Manzo. The kind of work that I wake up every day to do for Kenyans in the Senate, even when I live here, today I've got the governor of Makueni who's appearing before me to answer audit queries that I keep on following. The other day I had Kericho before me answering audit queries. We have seen how the Senate fights for money to go to the grassroots. We have seen the work that the Senate is doing. So there's a day I was talking to a certain young man who is very popular. I won't mention his name because he doesn't have the right of reply on TV. And asked him today, and I meant it. I told him, the end of this month, I'm going to give him my entire salary. If he mentions for me 50 MPs in the National Assembly by name and their constituencies. Their full names and their constituencies. The young man could not be able to mention 10 MPs. We have got 349 MPs in Kenya. Do you know why? Because it's convenient sometimes that if they have got some characters who are very mouthy and who are very noisy in the name of MPs saying a number of things, then you think that is a representative of the National Assembly and of the Senate. There are people in that house that are seriously working for Kenyans. It's just unfortunate that the guys who are doing very bad, and sometimes the people who are showing opulence to Kenyans, are the ones who are seen as the face of Parliament. You know, apart from situations whereby sometimes like what the 300 MPs did yesterday by passing this draconian bill. The bill to put the CDF and the NGCF into the Constitution. Apart from those instances, there are MPs who are working for Kenyans, and I'm telling you, they will go back. They get it. Even myself, I get elected in Migori County because I know the work that I do for Migori in my own personal capacity and in my own limitations. But I've been asked a very fundamental question. Let me answer it very fast. The issue of why is ODM in government and the government tends to look bad. Trevor, Kenyans, including Ekuru Court, easily forget. And I can tell you that because of that idea of easily forgetting your history, as simple history as yesterday's history, leave alone 1960s.
Amnesia, temporary. The
amnesia that the Ekuru Court will participate, if it's not careful, to give us another bad president in 2027, because he easily forgets. Number one, Ekuru Court. You're
saying that including myself when I decide.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into that, but I want to answer your question. Don't go into the sideshow. I want to answer this question.
Yeah.
In 2022, the Constitution of Kenya gave Ekuru Court and his friends and his family and his village mates and his schoolmates an opportunity to elect a president. He showed up in 2017 to vie for the election. He had serious following. And then in 2027 and 2022, unfortunately, I don't agree with what IBC did to him. They didn't give him a chance to beat the ballot. But they did not stop Ekuru's mind from working. He could not be able to have a misjudgment of anybody who was electing. So Ekuru elected Ruto. Okay? After Ekuru elected Ruto,
is that even
with
fair?
his
That
friend.
even
No,
fair?
you're going to get a right of response.
Here on TV that you actually.
I want to give you this history. It's very important. Why is ODM in this? Why ODM is in this?
Yeah.
Ekuru Aukot is on record, both supporting, campaigning for Ruto on Twitter, and he has a very serious following. This man is not a small man. No. This man has got very serious following. Campaigned, endorsed, and accepted Ruto's presidency. Now, when Ruto came into the presidency, Ruto was bedeviled with a political class that had supported him, that he got them into cabinet that was honestly very ineffective and very incompetent. This is the truth. Because the history of the Gen Z movement does not start with abductions. Abduction is a consequence of the Gen Z movement, right? The fact that they were talking so much about bad taxes, so much about inefficient running of government, so much about waste and privilege in public resources, so much about other things that then led to abductions. So the underlining root cause of Gen Z movement, signaled by the finance bill, was poor governance. When that poor governance happened, Gen Z did a very good thing, Ekuru. They came with an amorphous movement.
Until you guys interfere.
Just wait. Just give me time. You ask me a question.
I think you're giving him too much time.
He's answering your question.
You fear my answers. That's why you feel like
I will never.
So just keep quiet. I'm gonna remind him of his mistakes, so that he doesn't do them again.
You can go on.
Because of that, the country was in a place where we have got incompetent governance. Gen Zs are complaining, and then Gen Zs brought a very nice movement that was amorphous, that was peaceful at the beginning, that was to ensure that there is proper governance in the country. What happened is that then the movement got hijacked because it lacked the face of leadership. It lacked responsibility. It enjoyed freedoms under Chapter 4, Bills of Rights, and under Chapter 37 of the Constitution, under Article 37 of the Constitution, but then it didn't have a responsible leader who could be able to make sure that it's not hijacked. That hijacking of the Gen Z movement led the country into anarchy, okay? To the point that we had serious permutations that could have led this country to a Sudan situation, to an Egypt situation. So then at that point, ODM consulted. It was not an easy exercise. ODM consulted a time without number in a number of PGs. How do we ensure that this country has some stability and has got some steady governance that can ensure that Citizen TV is not burned down as a business and can no longer operate? Ekuru's business are not burned down and can no longer operate. It was a strategy to enter government to make sure that there is stability in the country, one, there is steady governance, two, but most importantly, to attempt to address some of these issues from within. Now, that meant that we would not agree with everything that Kenya Kwanza does, okay? That anything that is not befitting for Kenyans, we will not agree with. And truth be told, my friend Trevor, whether you want to give us credit or not, one of the issues of inequality in budgetary allocations, we have really done very well as people who are from ODM to make sure that this government can be able to have inequality, economic inequality and inequality in budgeting instrument in parliament and in the executive that can be able to accommodate all Kenyans. Number two, we have been able to actually deal with some of the stupid taxes that led to the Gen Z movement in June 25th. We've done that. And you can see that even when you look at the journalistic conversations now, look at all these newspapers. There's no complaints about serious taxes in this past bill. And so is the online conversation by young people. Yeah. Those are some of the achievements that ODM has been able to do. But we are now pointing our guns towards things like police brutality, towards things like abductions. And you have seen this with Senator Sifuna, who is the voice of the party. Even in this past weekend, Senator Sifuna was very vocal about this issue of abductions. Raila Amolo Odinga has been consistent, who is the party leader of ODM, has been consistent on the issues of abductions and the issue of police brutality. We are going to deal with that. And then we are also going to point our guns to the issues of obeying and honoring the Constitution, which includes what you have seen with ODM members rejecting the bill by Esther Passaris. Aduma Awuor was there rejecting. The head of political affairs in ODM, Rosa Buyu, was in Parliament rejecting this kind of bill that is draconian to Kenyans. Okay. So I think that you shouldn't hit ODM for helping the country stabilize and not go the Sudan way or going the Egypt way. And you should also not blame us for the misjudgment of some Kenyans like Ekuru Aukot of giving us governors that we now have to give some oxygen to survive. Okay. We are in the middle of the sea. Ekuru wants to jump out of the sea. He doesn't know how to swim. Yeah. And here is an engineer called Baba Raila Amolo Odinga trying to make that ship at least get to the shore, so that constitutionally you can be able to elect another leader in 2027.
Your life jacket, but you don't want it.
First of all, yes. You know, Eddie Gisheru is one of the most learned, I think, very intelligent people I know. And he's gone to very good schools, the Ivy League schools. And at this rate, I think I'm going to buy you the King of Rivals. So you read the political genius of Abraham Lincoln, and so that you can now constructively make that argument that you are not even a team of rivals. Because whatever you guys are doing in ODM is political convenience. Trevor, a narrative is being created here. And when I listen to Eddie, it's actually just, it's like UDA. We have a plan. We will do this. But relate that to the pain and feelings of Kenyans today, and whether actually Kenyans are getting some reprieve from this political association. You know? I don't want to use certain words, but I'm almost tempted to use those words about. But I think what Kenyans, I mean, Eddie, when you say that you are doing this as a party, and I don't want us to reduce this to just your party and the party. Let's talk about the bigger issues that are affecting Kenyans. For example, I will expect a party or a leadership that has for the longest time lied to Kenyans that we are the opposition, yeah, that we brought in democracy. We brought in the new constitution. We brought in devolution, not to associate with a leadership that is obviously terrorizing Kenyans. And now Eddie is jumping into a false narrative that there is anarchy in the country.
There was.
No, I don't.
Not now.
I don't think so.
Now things are better.
Eddie, you know, Google.
So as a presidential candidate, Ekuru, yeah, on June 25th, were we at the brink of an anarchy precipice?
First of all, Trevor, let me also just correct you. Please, let's not jump in. There is no anarchy. I mean, I don't know whether we can pull even the definition of anarchy from
so
just...
were we at the brink of a breakdown as a country?
No, we were not. So just it is the government creating a false narrative that we are at the brink of anarchy because they're the ones killing demonstrators who are peaceful.
Not now. Ekuru, don't misrepresent this fact. I'm talking about the June 25th, 2024.
Let answer it in his own direction.
And I want you to, Ekuru, because you're a lawyer who wrote the Constitution, what happened when the forces, because Gen Zs, right? Gen Zs at that time made some particular demands about good governance.
It's okay.
The people who came in into that Gen Z movement brought the issue of Ruto must go at that time. I want you to walk us through a process that evades anarchy and your options.
Yeah.
I want you to walk Kenyans here through. 25th, Ruto leaves office 25th of June. Then what?
Oh. Let him answer. So June 25th, and the reason why I want to make an argument on
constitutionally,
June
because remember we didn't have
wait, hold on. Ever since in the early 90s, we've never seen an invasion of parliament.
Yeah.
So June 25th, it happened. Were we at the brink of a breakdown as a country?
Breakdown, yes, but not anarchy. And I'll tell you this. If we all go back to our constitution, let's read Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya. Talks about sovereign power and authority vesting in the people to exercise it directly or indirectly through their elected representatives. The people of Kenya did not create anarchy. They simply invoked the spirit of Article 1 and said, our representatives have actually failed us. You know, you have got people who are saying, okay, we are not in government, we are in opposition, but they are not able to call the government to account.
What is your definition of anarchy? Because I'm looking at it here.
let's talk. Yeah, okay. Go on.
The definition here is a state of disorder due to absence of non-recognition of authority or other controlling system.
Kenya is
a state of disorder.
25th June 2024.
Was that a state of disorder or not?
No. These were only Kenyans peaceably. Again, I'm using the word peaceably in Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya, demonstrating with a Kenyan flag, with a phone, and just a bottle of water. Who created? That's why I disagree with the fact that we are on the brink of anarchy, because it is.
We were not.
No.
Let him
Eddie,
I don't want you to misquote me because I supported this protest, and I know how important. If I was to physically tell him how important these protests are, and I'll go into it when I get my time.
Let him explain.
But at that time,
Trevor.
And then Ekuru,
let him explain it.
No, just as he answers, because he also to make some
I know
points.
Eddie is at pain.
No,
trying to justify why they associate with our.
Read for us Article 1 of the Constitution, Article 1 of the Constitution, and Article 144 of the Constitution, and marry it with that June 25th.
Let him explain.
Okay. Yeah. You've read the definition of anarchy.
Yes.
Let's now contextualize it. The Gen Zs on the streets of Nairobi, armed with a phone, a bottle of water, and a flag.
Amazing.
And they are chanting, we are peaceful.
True.
Just demonstrating. And they're invoking the spirit in Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya.
True.
And who shoots them? Let's talk about, for example, Boniface Karaoke. Just selling masks. And Eddie, I'm happy you brought that issue up. Selling masks. And he's standing against a wall, and then he's being shot. So, if there's anybody who is creating a false narrative of anarchy, it is the authorities.
Okay.
And people who are in bed enjoying political orgasm with the government of the day. And this is why I have an issue with my good friend Eddie. By the way, Eddie is a founder of Third Way Alliance. I don't know why he has never acknowledged that publicly.
say I funded you to register.
So Trevor, to be honest, I think let's not propagate a false narrative that we are on the brink of anarchy in the country. The question then should be who actually is initiating that false narrative. It is the government of the day. It's the police. We have all talked about abductions here, killings, disappearances. Who is causing those disappearances? And I think for me the fundamental question that I think my good friend Eddie should be able to ask, why is the President of the Republic of Kenya, who is the symbol of unity, supposedly symbol of unity, silent about these abductions, these killings? Why is he allowing his minister to say, we are 100% behind you, the police, when the people of Kenya, the ordinary Kenyan, the Gen Zs, are not armed. They're not using any firearms. Why is the president silent, and why is he allowing such kind of ministers to be the face of his representation? Because that's the government. And that's why I will still not excuse Eddie.
I just said that
party, because
your issue was ODM.
No, Eddie. I will not excuse you, because if you can answer for me this question, why is the president silent when the Murkomens, the Kindiki?
I don't all do this for the president.
Okay? Because this is the face of Kenya's leadership, and he is associating closely with that leadership. I would have expected by now, and Eddie, don't run away from the fact that you are a leader. There's a time we were in this TV and you bragged that you got a lot of votes from Miguru, which is okay. And
that's true. And I wasn't bragging. I was just stating facts.
Yes, you did. So
I don't brag.
So as a leader with the legitimacy, you should not shy away from saying, I think as the Senate, and I'm more than happy to craft for you guys a motion that will actually call this government to account. But let's see.
No, I can do that, Ekuru. Ekuru,
let me hear what Banzo has to say.
As Banzo is coming in, Trevor, Ekuru, did you see the parliament burning on 25th of June?
Yes, I saw.
You saw?
I saw.
Did phones, flags, and water bottle burn the parliament?
No, of course, the anger of the people.
Okay, let's hear what Banzo has to say.
First and foremost, the political. The politicians in the country have let down the people. This was not the expectation of people when they elected a government. In fact, the same Gen Zs overwhelmingly elected President Ruto because of the hustler narrative, and it was the poor versus the bourgeoisie. And then that sold. And as soon as he came to power, he let them down terribly. You know, every single promise was never kept. And Parliament got captured. Parliament is under capture. If Parliament was not captured, by now it would have impeached President Ruto and the country would have stabilized. So that's one of the biggest failure. And the Parliament itself is a reflection of the people. So we are encouraging the young people now to come out more strongly and contest for seats to be in Parliament,
yes,
and refuse to be captured, so that they can hold the executive, to account. And that's where the failure completely begins. Parliament, particularly National Assembly, because that's where the motion begins. But everybody is held at ransom and threatened. That's why if you are carrying an impeachment motion, to impeach the president, even people to sign to support that, and they know very well that he's impeachable and should have been impeached by now. The other way is he looks at the situation, he acknowledges he has failed, and he resigns so that the country can be better. As much as, all of us were scratching our heads what's the best way, because the next thing the Gen Zs did was to attack State House. And they were going to attack if the president did not withdraw the bill. And last night I watched JKL to the last of it. The current government has completely failed to understand the people in Kenya. The young people are 70%. If you carry 70% of Kenyans who are dissatisfied, and what are they asking for? They're asking for fairness, equity. They're asking that there be equal opportunities for everybody. Everybody knows, Trevor, in this country, if you are advertising for jobs, it's just an advertisement. You have already employed those people. You are just pretending to follow the law. If you are giving a tender and you are advertising for a tender, you are actually wasting the government's money, putting the tender in the newspapers. You've already given the tender. There's so much corruption in the country that what the Gen Zs are telling Kenyans is, please, when you come to the bank and you find us in a queue, because you are a member of parliament or you are rich or you are a big boss, don't overtake us and go and get served and leave. Queue like every other Kenyan. The law in this country allows on the roads only the president, priorities to the president, ambulance or fire engine. Nowadays you find every minister wants priority. Then they cause jam, they cause traffic, they cause confusion. And then some people say, no, we must put this country to order. They block you. And they say then all of us are going nowhere till you follow the queue. They have done that even to speakers motorcade, to ministers motorcade. And a young man just blocks and says, please, queue like everybody else. Because even the policemen are there. They cannot control these misbehaving people. They can't charge them. And this is breakdown of the systems in the country under the watch of President Ruto. He has activated it. He's the one to blame for all the disappearances, for all the deaths, for all the misbehavior of police. I mean, who can order police to go and kill people? How can you have goons, working with the police to hack down people? And then you pretend you don't know where the goons have come from. And you know who has paid them. You know it is a politician, and you cannot arrest and charge that person. This is total breakdown of the systems of the country. And I want to urge Kenyans to be patient. Because if we all become impatient, if we all become like Ruto, then the country is going to be we are not going to have a country. I want to urge Kenyans to be a little bit patient, but do things rightly. Next time, elect correctly. But 8 million Kenyans did not wake up to go and vote. So who do you blame? 8 million Kenyans would have even had their own presidential candidate and had their own government.
Won that race.
Yes, they would have won the race. So we now want every Kenyan to participate. Send home a bad MP, a captured MP. Send him home and bring in somebody who will not be captured. Send home a bad political party. Send home a bad president and elect